Hotep Kush, I'm so happy to see you again. This Yesterday, Sister Amanda did a Zoom meeting, and I got to see some of your beautiful faces. And hopefully, as we continue to do some Zoom meetings, I'll see some more people. So it was really good to see those of you that I saw yesterday at Sister Amanda's Zoom meeting for literacy. This morning, before we start our math lesson, I have some recognitions. I said I have some recognitions. I want to recognize all of the scholars in Kush who have turned in their math and science work from Tuesday. And I just checked this morning before I came on to do this video. So these are all of the scholars who I have received work from for their science and math from Tuesday. If I do not call out your name, don't be angry and upset. I just did not see your work on the email. So if Sister Amanda has your work, just let her know to let me know. Okay, so my recognitions for today are, I want to recognize Zyra, Mr. Tobias, Samaj, Jassi, Ajane, Dior, Zafir, Zaya, Abigail, Peyton, Shamari, Joaquim, and Paris. Awesome. High fives in the air, guys. All right, so those are the scholars who I have received their math and science work from Tuesday. So if you have not finished it, please, you can still work on it and still email it to me. And if you did email or send it to Sister Amanda, just let her know to tell me. All right, so today, let's look at our board. And today is April 23rd, 2020. And my need for math today is students will be able to compose arrays from rows and columns and count to find the total. There's a lot of words in there that maybe we're not familiar with. So let's go over and unpack. Let's pull it apart and see what this Nia is really telling me. Students will be able to compose, which means to create something or make something. So we're going to be able to compose arrays. And I'm going to tell you what an array is. We've already been doing them, we just didn't call them arrays. From rows and columns and count to find the total. So we already know to count up something and find how much we have all together is the total. So now let's look at what is an array. So I have array, an arrangement or a group of objects in rows and columns. So we were doing this when we were doing our equal groups. We had rows and columns of fish and we were making them into groups. These were actually us starting out to work on arrays, but we just didn't call them that. We were calling them equal groups. So now we're getting into the big important words, array. So an array is an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. So let's put this in our math copybook. Let's put our date at the top. And let's put our definition. So pause the video while you put your date at the top. Put in your definition for array. And on the back, I have an example. So I have 6 stars, and I have them in, these are the rows going across, and these are columns going up and down. And this is just what we did when we were making our equal groups. We put them in rows and columns. All right, so let's move on to our lesson for today. And the first thing we always do when we're doing our math lesson is we kind of do a Sankofa rewind and just kind of go over some things that we've already learned and we have already worked on, just to kind of keep it fresh in our memory. So the first thing we're doing on your book, I was going to say on your board, On your book, number 1, we're going to make the next 10 to add. So the first one says 9 plus 4. So some of us already know, I know what 9 plus 4 is. Okay, so stop and let's look at what the problem is asking us to do. It wants us to make a 10. So if I make this into a 10, that means I had to have taken something away from my 4. So I took how much away from the 4? Correct. I took 1, made that a 10. So if I took 1 away, what does that make my 4? Awesome. It makes it a 3. And 10 plus 3, show me 3 fingers and count up. 11, 12, 13. Our marker's trying to run away. All right, so let's try another one together. Number 2. Let's do 19 plus 4. So we are making this into a 10. Not the number 10, but what's the next closest 10 to this? Awesome, it's 20. So if I make this into 20, I had to have borrowed from my ones column. So 19 to get to 20, 19, 20. It's 1. So that means I took how many away from my 4? Super, I took 1 away from my 4. So if I take 1 away from 4, I have 3. So 20 plus 3, 21, 22, 23. Super, let's try another one. You guys are doing really great. And my next one says, number 3, 49 plus 4. So I need to make this to the closest 10. So what would be the closest 10 to 49? Ariana, what you got for me? Right, it would be 50. So I'm going to make this 50. So 49 to get to 50, how much was that? 49, 50. It was 1. So that means I had to borrow from my ones column. So I borrowed 1. So if I have 4 and I take away 1, what do I have left, Mr. Tobias? 4, take away 1 equals, right, fantastic. It equals 3. 50 plus 3, show me 3. 51, 52, 53. All right, we got this, we got this. Let's do number 4, 9 plus 6. So I'm looking to take my number that's closest to a 10 because it's easier to work with. So which one of these numbers would be closer to a 10? Zaira, what do you have for me? The 9 is closer. So 9, what would be the closest? 9, 10, right. So if I added 1 here, I had to have borrowed from my ones column. So 6, take away 1 equals, Dior, 6 take away 1 equals 5. Super. All right, now I need everybody working with me. You should be copying as I am copying on my board. You should be copying in your book and following along. And so far, the work that I've been seeing on the emails that you've been sending, you have been doing awesome work in your copybooks. I'm loving to see that you're copying what I have on my board. You have it in your book. You're doing the work. I'm absolutely loving it. Keep it up. So let's get back to our problem. 10 plus 5. Everybody hold up 5 fingers. And we're counting up from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, you guys are really doing awesome. Let's try another one. I'm going to give you a problem. I'm going to give you 2 problems, and I want you to do them, and then we're going to check them together. So what are we on now? I'm already losing what numbers we're on. 4, 5. We're on 5. And somebody's probably saying, no, Mom Angie, not 5. Well, when I keep erasing, I don't remember. Okay. And number 6. So I want you to copy these 2 problems, and I want you to pause the video, and I want you to solve them by making a 10 and then solving the problem like we did. And if you need to go back to the problems we did before, go back and look at the problems we just did before we did this problem. So copy these 2 onto your copybook, and I want you to solve by making a 10 and adding. Okay, so if you have come back, then you should be ready, and you should have all of your answers, and you should just be checking with the work that I do. So I'm looking here at number 5, and it has 8 plus 3. So I'm looking to make one of these numbers a 10. So I'm looking for which one is the closest to a 10. So which one is the closest to a 10, Malachi? Right, 8 is closest to the 10. So I'm going to make that into a 10. Now, in order for me to get from 8 to 10, I have 8, 9, 10. I had to add 2. So then I go over to my ones column, and if I added 2 here, I need to take away how many? Right, great job. I need to take away 2. So 3 take away 2 equals 1. So 10 plus 1. When I'm counting by ones, I'm just going up to the next number. So 10, 11. All right, so thumbs up if you got number 5 correct. Great job. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs. Good. All right, so number 6 was a little more difficult, but I have confidence that you got this one. So let's check it. 18 plus 3. I'm looking to make one of these into a closest tens number. Not a 10, not the number 10, but the closest tens. So which one of these will be the closest? Samir, what do you have? 18 is the closest, and it's the closest to 20. Fantastic. Now 18, to get from 18 to 20, I had 18, 19, 20. So I had to add 2. So that means I have to do what to my ones column? What do I need to do, Jossie, to my ones column? Right, I need to take away 2. So I have 3, and I'm going to take away 2, and I'm left with 1. So 20 plus 1. Remember, when we're counting by a 1, we're just going up to the next number. So 20, 21. Oh, you guys have this. You're doing fantastic. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our happy counting. And we are going to count by tens. And happy counting is when we did this yesterday or Tuesday, when we were counting by 5s. And I had my thumb up or my thumb down to show if we're counting up or if we're counting down. So today we're going to do the same thing, but we're counting by tens. So who's ready with me? Thumbs up. Come on, Joaquin. Put that thumb up. Be ready with me. All right, I see you. All right, so we're going to start at 60, and we're going to count up by tens. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. Switch. 130, 120, 110, 190. Switch. So I was at 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220. Oh, switch it. So we are at 220, 210, 200, 190, 180. Awesome. High fives. All right, let's try that one more time and see if we can do a little bit quicker. Not sillier, just a little bit quicker. All right, so we're starting at 60, and you're counting along with me. So we're looking for a thumbs up means we're counting up, and our numbers are getting higher. And the thumb down means our numbers are lower, and we're counting backwards. All right, who's with me to count this a little bit quicker? I see you. I see the thumbs up. You're ready. All right, so we're starting at 60. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. Switch. 130, 120, 110, 190. Switch. 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220. Oh, switch. 210, 200, 190, 180. Yes, yes, yes. Thumbs up to you guys. Great job keeping along and keeping up. All right, now we're going to get into working with our arrays. So I have some counters. I want you to follow along like we did before where you're drawing circles. No circles. You're going to draw little dots or draw little circles for the objects. Okay, so I will prepare my groups, and I want you to have a page in your copybook so you're ready to follow along with me. All right, so I have my chocolate fishies that I'm using for my counters, and you can just draw little circles for your counters. So I'm going to switch the camera down so you can see the work that I have, and I want you to follow along. All right, see you soon. So I have the word arrays, so I want you to put that on your copybook because this is what we are working to create, some arrays. All right, I have right now what I did was I just made groups. I want you to do that in your copybook. So make 3, and just like I did. How many do I have in each group? Abigail. 3, right. And how many groups do I have, London? I have 2 groups. Awesome. How many bears do I have all together? Wahash. How many do I have all together? 6. Yes. Now, how did we know that we had 6 all together? We counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. How can we arrange these groups into 3 rows of 3? So now below where you just drew this, how can I make 3 rows with 3 in each row? No, how can I make rows of 3? I'm sorry. I need rows, so rows go across. How can I make rows of 3? What do you think? Remember, our rows go across. I need rows with 3. So you should be seeing, how can you make these into rows of 3? I can do that's a row, and I have 3. So now I hear some people say, oh, now I get it. Yep. I know we got it. So now I made rows, and I have 3 in each of my rows. And how many rows do I have? 1, 2. Right. So I have the same number in each row. I have 3 here and I have 3 here, just like I had in my groups. I had 2 groups and I had 3 and 3. Now I have 2 rows and I have 3 and I have 3. Fantastic, guys. You guys are doing great. When I look at my array that I made here, what shape, if I were to go around, what shape would I have? Right, I would have a rectangle. So they're saying this is a rectangle array because these form, hey now, don't go away, fishy. These form a rectangle. And how many bears how many fish do I have altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I didn't change the number from when I had the groups. I just changed how they were set up or lined up or arranged. How they're lined up or arranged. Right. All right, now, what if I want to make them into columns? So remember, rows go across and columns go up and down. How could I have them in columns where I have 3 in each column? What do you think? How could I make them into columns with 3 in each column? 1, 2, 3. So that's a column because I'm going up and down, not across. That's a row. So I can make another column. So how many columns do I have? 2. How many are in each column? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And how many do I have all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I haven't changed how many fishies I've been using. I've just been changing how I arrange them or how I set them up. So we had them in equal groups. We had them in rows, and now we have them in columns. So I can also say, what if I did now if I'm looking at my rows, nope, Mama Angie, that's not a row, that's a column. 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns. Now I have 3 columns, but I only have 2 in each. Did I change how many fishies I have altogether? Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I still have 6, which is what I started with, but I just moved them around and changed their arrangement. So I had 2 columns with 3 fishies, and then I moved it over here to make another column. So now I have 3 columns, but less fish in each column. But I still have 6. So I didn't change how many I have. I just kind of changed how I set them up or how I arrange them. What if I wanted to do 6 columns? How could I do 6 columns and still just have these fishies? I could take this one and make a new column. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many rows do I have now? Oh, wow, that is awesome. You guys were real quick with that. I have 1 row with 6 fish, or I have 6 columns. How many groups do I have? I have 1 group. All right, but I never changed how many fish I have. I stayed with 6 the entire time. I just moved them around and changed how they were arranged, how they were grouped, but I never changed how many I had. I always had 6. Okay, we're going to do another set, and now we're going to use 12. Okay, now I have 12 fishies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How can I make equal groups using these 12 fish? I want you to try to make me equal groups using just the 12. You make 12 little circles. You can make 12 little fishies if you want. You don't have to, but you can only use 12, and you need to make them into equal groups. So I want to see what you have in your copybook. So while you were doing your groups in your copybook, I did my groups. Now, before you say anything or erase anything in your copybook, if you don't have the groups I have, that doesn't mean your groups are wrong. There's different ways that you can group 12 to make them equal. Mama Angie did 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and I have 1, 2, 3 in each of my groups. If you don't have that, that doesn't mean you're wrong. What I can also make is I can make groups of 4. I didn't change how many fish. I still have 12. I just changed the grouping or the way I had grouped them or arranged them. So now I have 1, 2, 3 groups, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group. So if you have this way that you group them, great job. If you did the group that I did the first time where you had 4 groups, great job. If you didn't do either one of these, you're still not wrong. We could still do remember, you didn't see me add any more or take any away. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups, but I have 2 in each of my groups. So if you made 6 groups, awesome. Is that the only one? No, there's still more. Now I have 2 groups. I didn't add, I didn't take away any fishies. I just moved them around and rearranged. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you had any of those groups, awesome. You guys are doing fantastic. So there's different ways that you can group them and still have equal groups and not change the total number that you had. Okay, now we're going to make them into rows. We need to make them into a rectangular array. So how can I make them rows? Remember, are going across. So I need to make them into a rectangle array. Let's try 2 rows with 6 in each row. Because remember, that was one of our groups we had. We had 6 groups and 2 in each group. No, we had, yes, and then we also did 2 groups with 6. So 2 and 6 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now if I'm looking at my rows, I see I have 1 row, 2 row, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I made 2 rows. And I want you to also make that 2 rows with 6. And you can always pause the video so you can catch up and make sure that you're where I am. That's fine. Now let's make a different set of rows. Let's see if we can make 3 rows. All right, so I have 2. I'm going to move them up so you can see. All right, I have 2 rows. Let's make 3 rows. Oh, but I still have fishies left over. But I have 3 rows, 3 fishies. Oh, I can just add to my rows. So now I have 3 rows because rows go across. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each row. Awesome, you guys are doing great. What if I wanted to make 4 rows? Bless you. 4 rows. I would take little hard because my paper, but now I have 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did not change. I still have the same amount of fishies. Now, I will have a question for you. How many columns do I have? Oh, I'm seeing a lot of hands, and I'm hearing some people yelling it out. Yes, Hassim, how many columns? Remember, columns go up and down. So how many columns do I have? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. This is awesome, guys. You are really doing spectacular with our arrays today. So now we are going to move into our application problem. Hey, good to see you again. We're going to move into our application problem because you guys are doing so well with your arrays. You're just taking them and moving them into equal groups, equal rows, equal columns, and you guys were doing fantastic with following along and doing it in your copybook. So now we're going to do our application problem together. So I will put that on the board for you, and I would like for you to copy it in your math copybook. All right, so I have the application problem written on the board, and I forgot to write the word application problem. and I kind of used up the board. So I want you to copy. I will turn the camera so that you can see the board properly, and pause the video as you copy this application problem in your copybook. And always, always, after you copy, I want you to cube it, and I want you to see, okay, how am I going to solve this? What do I need to do? So let me read the problem for you. Then I want you to pause and I want you to copy, cube it, and try to solve it or begin to work on it. So I'm going to move the camera. And my problem says, Mama Angie is in line at the bank. There are 4 teller windows. Teller windows are the people who work at the bank. They're called tellers. And 3 people are standing in line at each window. Okay. Mama Angie is in line at the bank. There are 4 teller windows and 3 people are standing in line at each window. Okay, so think about that in your head. Picture that at the bank. 4 tellers, 4 people working there, and 3 people in line at each window. Okay, do you see it? Now, letter A says draw an array to show the people in line. And remember, an array is an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. So you're going to have to create an array using the information from our application problem. Then B says write the total number of people. So after you draw your array, you should be able to find letter B with no problem. So at this time, you are pausing the video, copying. Yes, Joaquin, you are copying everything on here, cubing it, circle, underline, box, explain, which is here, and then solve. All right, so when you unpause your video, that means you're ready to go over and that you've already copied and you've already started to solve the problem. And you're ready to move on, or you're ready to just check your work. Okay, so looking at my problem, I see, what do I need to circle? What do I need to circle? I'm looking for Zafir. What do I need to circle in my problem? 4 and 3. What do I need to underline? What am I underlining, Ariana? Right, it doesn't have a question, but it is asking me to do something. So I'm going to underline, what does it want me to do? So what's the one thing it's asking me to do, Ariana? Awesome, you got it, girl. It's draw an array to show the people in line. And don't judge my line, it's not straight. So that's the first thing the problem asks me to do. What else do I need to do, Mr. Tobias? Right, I need to write the total number of people. Okay, so let's start with, oh, I didn't box. I know Samir. Samir is good at that boxing. He's always got that with me. Boxing the right words. So give me some key words, Samir. Each. And total. All right. Fantastic. You guys are doing great. So for letter A, I need to draw an array to show the people in line. So going back to my problem, there are 4 teller windows. 3 people are standing in line at each window. I'm going to change this so it's a little easier when I draw. So I have teller windows, and I have 3 people are standing in line at each window. So I'm going to draw 1 person, 2, 3, 4. So here's 1 window, 2 windows, 3 teller windows, 4 teller windows. How many were in line at each window? Awesome. You guys you are so quick with that. There are 3 people in line at each window. So right now I just have 1 person at each window. Hopefully you can see this little person down here. It's kind of hitting my table.
Hey! Wait, me?
No, on my board. Oh, you like my people?
You look so cute.
Okay. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 teller windows. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 people in each line. So that has answered part A. Draw an array to show the people in line. Here are my people in line. Now it says write the total number of people. So how do I find the total number of people? Paris. What do you think, Paris? Right, that's awesome, Paris. I'm going to add all of them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now remember, we have a word problem, so we have to answer in a complete sentence. There are 12 people in line. So make sure that you have what I have on my board, you should have in your copybook. And we also talked about, instead of counting each individual person, that we can count them by groups. We can say 3, 6, 9, 12. So there are 12 people in line. If you need to pause the video while you get all of this in your copybook, please do. I don't want you to miss anything. I want you to have what I have on the board in your copybook. Okay. That concludes our math lesson for today. Oh, don't be upset. I will see you for science. All right. For math, what you need to do is you need to go into your math workbook, your green workbook, and you're going to the middle of your workbook. Some people are still in the front and they're not doing the same pages that we're doing. I'm glad you're doing math and I'm glad that you're working, but I want you to keep up with what we're doing in class so you don't get confused. So you're going to the middle of your workbook, and today we were working on lesson 5. So remember, we skipped lesson 3. So we're in the kind of the middle of our workbook, and we're on lesson 5 today. We're doing the problem set. So as you finish the problem set, you can have your parents take a photo and email it to Mama Angie and Sister Amanda at grade2@sfacs.us. So you guys did fantastic today. I'm very proud of the work that you're doing. I'm very proud of the work that I'm seeing that you're emailing me. I've also been looking on eSpark and Study Island and seeing some of the work that you're doing on there. And you guys are just doing fantastic. So keep up the good work. And I will see you for science. Bye.